Hello, it's Rob Allen. I'm at the Realcomm IBCOM conference here in San Antonio. This is an awesome place. Really like it. Had a lot of fun, and I got to run into Nick here from ClockWorks, right?
From KGS Buildings with ClockWorks, that's
very,
right.
Very cool. I haven't really talked to you at all, so tell me a little bit about ClockWorks.
Sure. So ClockWorks is a building performance management application. We connect building automation data, meter data to the Microsoft Azure cloud. And we have libraries of fault detection and diagnostic algorithms, energy analytics, measurement and verification analytics that we provide to customers and through service providers to help manage their buildings better.
That's super neat. So you guys are the ones that developed the terminology big data.
Well, not exactly, but we definitely play in that space. We try to avoid the term. I mean, people use it in so many different ways. However, I mean, we do use a lot of data. We try to mass customize analytics, so it's a way to scale analytics, not just data and data storage and data collection.
So yesterday in one of the breakout sessions, actually it was the general session, super neat, they talked about alarming. And so, you know, an enterprise system may see 40 million points, and if you get 1 in 1,000 of those to alarm, it's 4,000 alarms a day. And obviously nobody's going to be able to do anything with that, so I'm sure your product can do something like that, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace about alarms and FDD and diagnostics, how they all have to relate. We actually consume alarms from building automation systems into the platform and present statistics about the alarms. So for example, the top 10 most frequent alarms, you know, the number that went off in the last 24 hours, the longest standing alarms, those kinds of things help to manage alarms. But diagnostics are really a whole nother animal. That's really about how systems are performing, how can you operate them more efficiently, how can you handle things like leak by or broken dampers, how can you handle things like reset schedules that aren't aggressive enough by looking at, say, all of your damper positions or all of your valve positions relative to what the air handler is doing. So there's a huge difference between an alarm and diagnostics and a lot of confusion in the marketplace. Certainly the last thing we want to do is provide more nuisance alarms.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good stuff. So your product, most suitable for like the controls integrator? I mean, is that who you're targeting? Is that your target market, or other than that?
Yeah, so we do a lot of business in healthcare and life sciences, large commercial, universities. We're doing a little more retail and hotel. Sometimes we work directly with end customers. When we do that, it's really, you know, what are their in-house resources to take the information and act on it? That's so key to actually getting savings. We get a lot of success by working through service providers, where the service providers are the ones doing that on behalf of the customer. A lot of customers don't have the resources, the time, the capabilities, the expertise to do all of this. It's the service providers who can actually deliver it for them.
So that's really neat. So when you get a call from a customer, what are they asking you to do? What is it? What's your job function for them and your best practice?
Yeah, well, you know, the market's changing very fast. Some customers are specifically asking about, you know, we heard you guys do FDD, tell me about that. The reality is most of the market is still behind that. We're looking for solutions that help us manage our facilities better. How do we do that? We hear about big data and analytics. What is that? What do you guys do in that space? So what we have to walk them through is, you know, what does it take to get all that data together? How do you scalably and cost-effectively apply analytics to it that provide information that actually helps manage performance in their buildings? Save energy, improve comfort, sustain asset value, reduce equipment failure, and extend lifetime.
That's great. That's good stuff. Have you got a minute to show us the product?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome.
So first, let me show you about what we do. What you see here is kind of a schematic of how the full stack works, and a lot of customers are really dealing at this level right now. They have automation systems, they have metering. What more do they need to do with that data in order to gather performance? So there's a few different layers to get there. There's the integration layer, there's the analytics layer, and there's the interface layer. We can provide all of this, but we also work with partners that do some of the integration layer or some of the interface layer. Where we really provide a lot of benefit is the scalability of the analytics at this layer. So how do you handle the volume of data? How do you apply analytics in a repeatable way that's also accurate and useful for the end customer? So with that information, we're producing performance metrics like energy use intensity over time, compare that to baselines, fault statistics like how many faults are occurring, how many faults impact comfort, maintenance, energy, what are the avoidable costs associated with those faults. So monetization of faults is huge for customers to be able to prioritize how they spend their time and money. And then of course details to get into what are the actual faults, what are the opportunities for savings, how do they go tackle those issues. So let me quickly actually show you the interface itself. This is a demo site for ClockWorks. You can see it's user and role based, so you can have users that have access to lots of buildings, you can have users that have access to just one, they can have editing privileges or not. Providers can have access to all of their customers through this interface, so you can see all the customers when you get in here. We present information like when buildings are red, that means there are lots of faults and lots of opportunity for savings. You can click through and drill into that. You can see trends and the avoidable costs over time. So this is a building that has, or actually a portfolio, that has anywhere from $1,200 in faults a day up to $2,000 worth of faults a day. So that's how much they could save by fixing the problems. For a customer, you don't want to waste that money. For a service provider, you want to help them fix those problems. So now that I've told you a little bit about the architecture and how it works, I want to talk about some of the key things that we do differently. So one of the things we often hear from a customer is, my building is different. How can your analytics actually apply to our building? And what we've done in order to solve that problem is apply mass customization to analytics. So mass customization is not some term that we just came up with. It's actually a well-known term applied to manufacturing and to marketing and to a number of different industries. And it's about producing goods and services that meet the needs of many at mass production efficiency. So you don't need to reprogram rules or diagnostics for every air handler that you have in all of your buildings. You can have a common library that through metadata and parameters applies to all of those different systems. Yes, every building is different, we know, but metadata enables mass customized analytics. The other thing I want to talk to you about that we do a little bit differently is software as a service. There's a lot of debate going on about on-premise solutions, software as a service solutions, and security. One of the things, I'll start that one over. Just get out of the time. The other thing we do differently is software as a service. There's a good amount of debate around on-premise solutions versus software as a service solutions and the security of all of these things. 2 points I'll make there. One is we push data to the cloud. We don't write back today. That's deliberate. And the second is we're on Microsoft Azure, and it's got a number of different certifications. You can go online and look at the Azure Trust Center, highly secure. Why is this important? In the history of the buildings industry, you've got a lot of on-site hardware and software. It has inherent lifetime. Eventually it's obsolete. And the question is, for analytics, do you go the old way, where you put stuff on-prem, and then eventually it goes obsolete, and over time it gets worse? Or do you connect to a software as a service application that gets better over time? We release new types of features, we release new analytics. That's all part of the service that we're delivering. So from our point of view, you can choose a better way. Now, am I saying that software as a service is the only component of this? Absolutely not. There's analytics that belong embedded in hardware and in controllers. There's analytics that belong at the on-premise layer. But in terms of fault detection and diagnostics and the types of analytics we do, we feel there's a really strong case for going software as a service as opposed to something else.
Mikhail, man, that was awesome. Thank you so much. That's good stuff. So obviously now that we've got, I think 100 million people on control centers. Well, maybe not that many, but we got a lot. They're going to want to get in touch with you. How does that happen? What do we need to do to make that happen?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. To find out about us, you can go to kgsbuildings.com. That's kgsbuildings.com. Or you can email us info@kgsbuildings.com.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.
Pleasure talking with you, Rob.